6:13. I'm Michael Cohen, and this is 1320 WILS. So a group of doctors, they've sent a letter to Columbia University. They want Dr. Mehmet Oz, to be removed from the faculty there. He heads the surgery department at the school, very prestigious position. They call him a fake and a charlatan. That's a quote. So what do other doctors really think about this? Dr. James heads the diamondphysicians.com, where they well, what do you guys do at diamondphysicians.com?
Well, we're a new healthcare delivery model, and we actually deliver a better product for a better price. So clients charge us we charge them a monthly membership fee. Kids are $45 a month. Adults are $95 to $295 based on age, no pre-medical conditions, and they receive unlimited visits, no copay, and 24/7 access to the doctor. Plus, we include unlimited urgent care, so all your acute medications and acute procedures are included. So it's an incredible new system that we're hoping to blanket the country with this affordable healthcare product.
How long were you working in the normal system before you decided to go this other path?
3 years, and seeing 30 to 40 patients a day, spending 8 minutes on average with each patient. It's just not rewarding. We get into medicine to change lives and save lives and reverse disease. In the current payer system, we can't do it. You can't do anything in 8 minutes. It's not enough time.
Well, 3 years is quick, so you pretty much right away you saw this isn't working for you, at least.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and for many patients. Do you watch the Dr. Oz show?
I really don't watch it. I've seen episodes in the past, and some of the reasons I don't watch it is because a lot of the products and items mentioned on the show just aren't backed by any science, any evidence-based medicine. I
mean, well, his response was that, his quote is, quote, "We provide multiple points of views, including mine, which is offered without conflict of interest. That doesn't sit well with certain agendas which distort the facts." His position is, look, he's open to alternative approaches, and these doctors simply don't want to hear anything of it. What do you think of that?
Well, a very holistic provider. We are always looking at alternative therapies and methodology that can help people. That's all we care about, is reversing disease and modifying lifestyle for the better. But the problem is, a lot of his products that I've seen, I'd say anywhere from 50 to 60%, the information that he's sharing is completely 100% false.
Well, let me ask you.
I can't remember this specific episode.
Well, there are a couple. First of all, there's the coffee bean extract, which he said was a cure, he called it, for weight loss, was a big part. Also, this Asian fruit, Garcinia cambogia. Have you heard of either of these approaches for weight loss?
I'm not familiar with the Garcinia, but yeah, the coffee bean extract, it's just caffeine. So a lot of people will put that with chromium, which is medically proven to prevent cravings, hunger cravings. So I use it. I prescribe chromium for satiety to help people feel full. But the caffeine is just a fake metabolic booster. It's caffeine. You can find it in coffee. You can find it in sodas, in any type of Starbucks product. So, yeah.
So is he wrong? Is he wrong?
Coffee bean extract.
You would not, though? Well, why is that?
Because too much caffeine can cause adrenal fatigue. And there are dozens of other ways to lose weight that are much safer and much more effective.
Okay. He also talked about doing energy work, that Reiki, it's some kind of an energy healing, and he said you could do this before very risky surgeries. Talking about that, is that inappropriate for a doctor to discuss that?
Well, the problem is, if you don't have a peer-reviewed article in a major medical journal, we don't make those recommendations. Most physicians practice evidence-based medicine. So things have to go through clinical trials, preferably a randomized clinical trial, which is the gold standard, before you can make these recommendations. It has to be proven. So if it's not proven, I'm not going to recommend it to my clients.
And Dr. James, when you see clients come in and they've tried an herb or some kind of a healing thing that's alternative, and you receive real results, how does that affect you? How do you respond to that?
Now, if I do see real results, then I will say anecdotally. So meaning in my practice, but without any evidence, it works. And I do have some products like that, some different supplements that I have seen clients improve their labs, but we don't have any clinical trials to prove that. So I will tell somebody that, this particular supplement, I have seen in my practice that it works, but I don't have any clinical evidence to recommend 100% that this is medically proven to be effective.
But
so you just have to make that distinction.
Well, without recommending, have you seen things that made you rethink, like, wait, we don't have evidence, but I'm personally convinced this alternative thing might work or help?
No, I don't have any examples like that. You know, I'm pretty by the book when it comes to evidence-based medicine. I actually pay for a prescription program that costs me thousands of dollars a year that basically compiles all the research and all the peer-reviewed journals that are out there. So anything new, I run it through this database to see if there's any physical studies that have been performed on whatever it is that I'm researching.
I'm talking to Dr. James with DiamondPhysicians.com. Is he really doing serious harm, you think, Dr. Oz?
You know, at times you can do a lot of harm. You know, he's got a huge viewership, probably anywhere from 10 to 12 million people. So that's a lot of power and a lot of responsibility. So I know that Dr. Oz seems like he has a good heart, and he's a very good cardiothoracic surgeon. But when it comes to his show, he has got to review or pay someone else to review the products before he endorses them. And I think that's the issue that a lot of physicians have, that we know a lot of these products, there's no science behind them. There's no evidence-based medicine.
So
I think
when he talks about certain agendas, are there agendas out there that want to restrict the growing use of alternative approaches?
I don't think so. I think we want to see evidence-based medicines, that people aren't consuming a product that could harm them. Our responsibility as physicians is first and foremost to do no harm.
Right, but aren't a lot of these studies done by the pharmaceutical companies? Isn't that part of the issue, getting the studies done?
Exactly. A lot of those studies, and those aren't valid studies. You can't do an objective study on a product if you are the manufacturer, right? You have to have a third party come in and do a clinical trial. But most of these aren't done by pharmaceutical companies, pharmaceutical grade, that require a prescription. These are companies that are independent companies. They gain FDA approval, but they are not heavily FDA regulated. So just because something is FDA approved does not mean it's good for you. It just means that it's probably not going to kill you, and that's an important distinction.
Okay. He also talks about spiritual mediums. On one show, he talked about connecting with the dead. He said it could lower stress levels, help people make a peace with deceased loved ones. Is that a harmful kind of thing for a doctor like him to say?
You know, I don't have too much knowledge about the spiritual healing aspect, but you have to individualize those type of concepts. If you want to go to a spiritual healer and it lowers your stress level, that can potentially lower your blood pressure and help with other things. But just don't put a lot of stock from a medical standpoint into that kind of therapy. I don't think spiritual healing is necessarily bad or detrimental to one's health, as long as they're not rubbing any particular
any weird ointment on themselves.
Yeah.
So the doctors there that sent this this letter to Columbia, they say the university is, quote, starstruck and likes having their faculty the best known doctor in the country. They're essentially saying that they're in love with Dr. Oz there at the Department of Surgery in Columbia. What do you think the university should do now?
Well, I think that is an assumption that is probably a little bit unfair. As far as I've read, Dr. Oz is a wonderful cardiothoracic surgeon and very credible with his skill set as a surgeon. So Columbia hired him on their faculty before he had this show, and definitely because of his merit. So I think it's a little bit unfair to state that, they're just in love with him because of his show. Obviously, any university, any teaching university wants to have a staff that is well-known, world-renowned, if you will. So I can't blame them for wanting to have Dr. Oz on their staff. Now, should he be let go or fired because of his show? I don't think he's done anything to the extent where he has embarrassed the university or made remarks that were unprofessional. So on the professionalism side of things, I think he does a great job.
Really?
It's just that he needs to be more in tune with his recommendations. So that's about being a good host, a good doctor, holding up to that Hippocratic oath, And I don't know if he does it on purpose. I really don't think that he has
seems
an
like
agenda.
he believes it himself. I mean, he basically said he sees the products, he tries them himself many times, and he finds them to be effective. You say it's anecdotal, but, well, it is in his case, but it's personal too. But you're saying as a doctor, you've never been in that position where you've had kind of a personal experience, and so you've then kind of passed it on to patients that way?
Well, I definitely try the products that I recommend personally. I can tell you that much. So, yeah, we do have some supplements, but they also have a lot of evidence-based medicine. So I recommend raw cocoa and plant-based proteins instead of animal-based proteins, and I try the actual products that I recommend. But as far as the science go, I don't wander too far off the beaten path.
Right. But the one last thing, it seems like we see so many studies that literally contradict themselves. Do you ever have a hard time making sense of what's real and what's not?
No. When in doubt, you go to the literature and people that have put in hours, months, and years into researching these products are typically the ones that are correct.
It's Dr. James, the website, diamondphysicians.com. Dr. James, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Hopefully we'll have a diamond in Michigan soon.
Yes, let's bring it here.